Travis, hey man, thanks for coming back. We are excited to host you once again today. Thanks, man.
Hey, it's a pleasure to be back. I've been looking forward to this. Good to see you guys.
Absolutely. For those of you that are here and are just joining us, today we've got Travis Smith. He's CEO and founder of Tribevest. Tribevest is a collaborative group investment platform that enables friends and family to organize as an investor group, pool money, and manage joint investments. And today you got some good news for us, but we're going to save that to the end, right? Our podcast and our listener base has grown quite a bit since we had you on. And so I'm hoping to review a little bit with you, Travis. If you could give us a little bit of background about how you even kind of got started in this industry.
Absolutely. Again, thanks, guys. Travis Smith, founder and CEO of Tribevest. And, really the company idea, the origins started by, trying to overcome a challenge that I had. And you really have to go back to 2008, where, I was figuring out that this trading time for money wasn't going to work out. We did all the things that we were told to do. We went to a good school, got good grades, got a good job, was making good money, or so I thought. And but again, it was, if you kind of do the math, that's 2008 during the Great Recession. There, we really kind of realized that something's got to give, and we were looking at how people that we knew that were around us that were living their best lives, were financially free. Those were business owners, people investing in businesses, people investing in real estate. And that's what I wanted to do. I read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, was ready to go. And as so many of us, when we go into a new area of private investing or just anything, the mystery, the fear, the unknown is really paralyzing. And I went on this fishing trip that I couldn't afford with my brothers. And thank goodness, because they were kind of having the same struggles, right, as me. And in the rivers, we were talking about our dreams and aspirations, and we kind of realized that we wanted the same thing. And we discussed how challenging it was to kind of break into private investing or business ownership. So on the river, and over a few beers, of course, we said, listen, let's form our family business. Let's become business owners. And so we formed an LLC, opened up a business bank account, and started to pool capital. That was it. And then we were business owners. Like, you think about it, like we were business owners at that point, and we were in the business of investing. So now we were presidents and vice presidents of an investor group. And that changed everything for us too. And eventually we had enough capital to do our first deal. We did our next deal. We did our next deal. And we look back, guys, by forming and funding that investor group and tribe, as we call it today, we unlocked a future that none of us could have ever achieved on our own. And that's the origins. So we solved the problem by forming a business partnership and pooling capital.
Travis, what was the advantage? Because you guys could have did this yourself individually. Why did you want to do it together, and what were the advantages?
It was, one, we grew up, not being trained in this. You certainly go to school, you're not, no one teaches you how to invest into real estate or into businesses. So we didn't know. We lacked that knowledge. Mm-hmm. We lacked the network. Where do you go? Where do you go to do this and do it well and to be intelligent about it? So what we did was and there wasn't communities out there like yours, right? There was less kind of online training. There wasn't. I don't even know when podcasts came out, but it probably was after this. And mm-hmm. So we did what humans have done since the beginning. We turned to our tribe and said, look, none of us know how to do this, but together we could figure this out. And so that was a big part of it. And then, of course, the big obvious challenge, which was lack of capital. And so, yeah, we could have, done this, started pulling capital, and you guys know you guys have a system which is very intelligently helps you, bank for yourself, which is amazing, right? And we could have, of course, I don't think that was around back then, but we could have just started saving individually and eventually getting enough capital, but it would have taken us 5 times as long.
Gotcha.
So together, we could get into it, right? We could accelerate things together, leverage the power of the tribe.
Now, as you were, sorry, Cameron.
That's all right.
I'm not sorry.
You got me twice, man.
Is Cameron going to get a word in, Anthony, or is this how it goes?
I'm hoping not. Well, I'm just expanding on the current topic. So those are some of the advantages of what you were doing. Were there any disadvantages of you guys coming together independently?
Oh man, yeah, great question. And
absolutely, it was an okay question.
It was
Travis.
worth interrupting Cameron,
okay.
right, to answer that question.
You got to give it to him. That was a pretty good question.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, it's I guess it might be one of those things. Although we feel like we accelerated things. I think there's an African proverb that says, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. And because there is work there to work together to reap the benefits of a group. And certainly before Tribevest, right? We experienced the full weight and challenge and burden of forming a partnership. Did we need a operating agreement? Do we need an attorney? What type of attorney? How do you open up a business bank account? How do we automate pulling capital together? Filing the LLC. What does that operating agreement? How are we going to operate? How do we communicate, right? And how do we stay all on the same page? How do we keep records of all these things? All those questions we had to piece together, and quite honestly, we didn't do well. Like if you were to ask me what did you have to do differently than you did, from your first tribe, between your first tribe and now how tribes on Tribevest operate? And the answer is we did everything wrong. We did everything wrong. Yeah. So, but yeah, it was hard. And look, sometimes, even getting back from the fishing trip all fired up and, thinking we had really unlocked something. And how many of us kind of do that? We go to a conference and we come back and we're fired up, and then you kind of come back. Right. And then you're like, oh man, like this is gonna be work. And we persevered. And there was times where like, gosh, like we could actually benefit. Like the family could use this capital, should we not do this? And thank goodness we persevered. Again, it changed our lives, changed the trajectory of our families forever. So generationally.
Yeah. Travis, when did Tribevest come about? So you kind of guys were on this fishing trip, came home, started doing individually. When did you have that moment where you're like, man, this works. I think we could turn this into a business?
In 2018, is when we launched the business, and that was when we were really seeing the benefits of this. I think it was we'd done really well. We had just had a recent exit, and one of our investments, which wasn't an investment at all, but this does tell the power of the tribe. We actually bought a racehorse named Smaverless, and it ended up being one of the top earners in racing that year. And there we were in the owner's suite, kind of saying, what the heck does a bunch of guys like us being here? And, again, realizing none of this happens without us forming this tribe and pulling our capital together on a regular basis. And at that time, people were saying, hey, how could could you help us form an investor tribe too? And then of course my background is in finance. I started with Morgan Stanley. I say I was saved by software. I went to work for a early fintech, and throughout my career was in fintech. And just before starting Tribevest, I was with a company called Jack Henry and Associates, a multi-billion-dollar fintech that 3,000 banks run on their core software, and I headed up their strategic alliances and enterprise payments. So people are asking us, hey, can you help us form an investor group? Of course, we knew how hard it was, and that's when we decided to give it a go and build out what is the banking infrastructure, the banking and collaborative infrastructure of the private investing world. And yeah, that was when it was 10 years. 2008 first tribe. 2018 we actually launched Tribevest.
So from 2018 to really what I think is January, when you launched kind of this new platform for you guys, what has Tribevest kind of looked like? Who's been coming to you guys, and what services have you guys been providing?
Yeah, great question. I think we built this out very intentionally, again, as a platform, the infrastructure, a utility, a tool, and we did it so it was very open. You could come to our platform, agree on your charter, form your LLC, onboard your members, pull your capital, bank, open up your business bank account, all those things. And it was very broad. We marketed it very broadly. It's whatever you want to invest in together. Tribevest is a great tool to do that, and we made it easy, safe, and transparent. To give you an idea, the technology gives you the ability to come in, file your LLC, and within a couple of days, you're opened up a FDIC insured business bank account. So within days, you can form a partnership, be pulling capital and investing in whatever it might be, and so just a very broad range of whatever was familiar to them, whatever it was local, whatever they were passionate about, right? And those are, like, people ask, well, what's the best investment? Well, it's those things.
Yeah.
It's the things right? It's the things you understand. It's the things you care the most about. And so, for the first 3 years, we were just blown away by what people were investing in. And, it was everything. Real estate, of course, active real estate, passive investing into real estate syndications, short-term rentals, long-term rentals, flipping, just all sorts of things in the real estate world. But then we had people investing as angels, investing into the startups, art, cars. I mean, during the pandemic, people invested in collectible cards and, sporting cards and cars. Again, it was just really cool. And as you kind of mentioned, we started recently to have a little bit more of a narrow focus. But those first few years, very broad, anybody could use the platform, and it was really neat to see all the different applications.
How were people kind of putting those tribes together previously when you first got started? Was it family and friends? Was it similar to kind of the way that you guys originated?
Right, of course, yeah. A ton of friends and family coming together. Believe it or not, a lot of existing groups out there had kind of figured it out,
Yeah.
and then kind of thought they died and gone to heaven when they realized they could do this all on one platform. But really, what's been so exciting the last few years, and I know you guys, feel this and are part of it, but the communities out there. There's so many communities where people are on their wealth journey. They're seeking, that community. They're seeking learning together. like a lot like my brothers and I were yearning for. Of course, we only had each other because there weren't these more accessible communities. But that's where we're seeing a ton of these tribes form now. Is they meet each other at virtual conferences. They meet each other at live concert conferences, and they realize that they're at similar points in their lives and they're investing in wealth building journey, and they come across a deal or an idea and they're like, we should do it together. So I think that's been really cool to see these communities. We hope those communities take action is another way to think about it. There's these communities that are learning and doing a lot of great things, and then when it comes time to take action, what an awesome way to do it together but with a tribe.
Awesome. Now catch us up. You've got some kind of changes and some advances and stuff that you're rolling out here at the beginning of this year. Tell us a little bit about those.
Yeah, absolutely. It leverages that platform and infrastructure that we built, right? So that's been kind of the cool thing of this product that's called an open tribe. And it's really for those that serve investors, right? Either communities that are bringing deals or opportunities. So communities come together and they open up a tribe. And instead of having what we call as the founder kind of having to rally the troops, figure it out, form everything, there's we've made it 10 times easier, but there's still this burden of doing that, right? But when we're in these communities and there's something, an event or a deal that's presented, we can open up tribes now and people can join them, and they're doing this for one of two reasons. One is to lower the minimum. So a lot of these real estate syndications, and by the way, open tribes right now are specifically for partnerships and investors that are looking to get into some type of syndication or represent the tribe as a passive investor or LP into a syndication. And so these open tribes make it real easy for tribes to come together, and instead of writing $100,000 check like maybe I would or maybe I wouldn't, I can come in at the amount that's right for me through this tribe, and then the tribe turns around and does one check. We do all the the heavy lifting, right? The forming of the entity, pulling of the capital, banking, the wiring, and then you think about it from the deal sponsor perspective. Instead of having 5-10 different checks and investors, they're getting one, right? And then then there's one K1 that comes back, or one distribution, one K1. Our open tribes on a quarterly basis do those distributions to the members. The K1 comes in from the sponsor, and we process that and get all the K1s out to all the members in the tribe. So communities are using it for that reason. And then there's people out there that are kind of taking their investing in the next level, and they're going to these deals, these sponsors, and saying, hey, what if I did bring $1 million to the table, right? Could I get better terms? And usually the answer is yes. And then so these become great tools for those people that are again emerging as capital raisers or taking a step towards being a capital raiser, and they can invest that way. They can pull capital, hit that $1 million threshold, send one check, and the whole tribe benefits because they got better terms because they're part of a bigger check. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it does. I'm just processing it. let me ask you one issues. I mean, I can see this in a lot of different scenarios. As you'd mentioned with syndications, most of them require someone to be an accredited investor, meaning they need to have a certain amount of income and or net worth. Does that change, or how does that affect if you come together with a tribe?
Yeah, great question. It the it, the requirements for the deal pass through the tribe. So if it is an accredited requirement deal, then it's important all the members are accredited. But we are seeing a lot more of the deals out there that you don't need to be accredited, which is super exciting. And in that case, of course, you don't need to be accredited to be part of a tribe that's participating in those deals. But it does depend on what the deal is that the tribe's looking to participate in.
One advantage I can see is you had mentioned, typically a lot of these syndications require maybe a 50, but like a lot of them require a minimum of $100,000 investment. And what I can see is this is, for one, a way for you to pull that together, but also it could be a way to diversify. I mean, if you have $100,000, great, you can go into one syndication. But if you were to say have a tribe of 5 people, then in theory, you could each put in 500 or 100 each, and then you can you could diversify, and you can be in 5 syndications as well.
Absolutely. You think about all the applications and how this helps, right? Like, look, most of us came from that traditional, conventional investing. And the nice thing about that is it's so easy. Like, it's never been easier, right? You have your financial advisor. There's 6,000 of them out there. Your 401k automatically takes your money out of your W-2. The technology, it's very mature. You can do it for free. It's almost gamified. It's so easy, right? And then you try to get over to private investing and taking real ownership, right? That the advantages that come with true ownership that we know it's so important. It's so hard. And so being able to, lower that barrier of entry is super key. And look, yeah, it's not just about getting down to, say, if it's $100,000 minimum, getting down to a $10,000 minimum, or down to $10,000, because that's palatable. But you're absolutely right. I can now get into 10 different deals, right? What do you think? 3 are going to go really good, 3 are going to go okay, 2 are going to go in, and then 1 might not go great, right? So how do you diversify, and what a great way to do it. And think about, like, getting into a new sponsor, getting into a new asset class, all those things. I mean, if you've ever written a big check like that, it's really sucks. And and what a great way to, again, invest at the amount that's right for you, for all sorts of good reasons.
Travis, one of the questions that we always get is, right, this sounds great, right? Is there something that I'm missing here, right? Are there some downsides that people should watch out for, as far as, creating a tribe, something like that maybe they may not see, a blind spot, something like that?
Good question. I think what we've done, right, is we've changed the game. So, do you guys remember where you were when you first heard about Uber? Like, do you remember what you thought? Like, did you think that was a good idea?
I did, or I'd even say like Airbnb.
Yeah.
I remember the first time I heard about Airbnb, and a client was doing that to her apartment in New York. I'm like, are you crazy? Like, you have strangers living in your apartment? But now, I mean,
Yes.
they have plenty of Airbnbs. And so I think you're right. At first glance is, man, this is insane.
Right.
Right.
So I think like that we think of like Uber. I remember the first time I heard of Uber, I'm like, that is the dumbest idea. That business is going to fail miserably. And of course, now, I have Uber on my phone and I summon strangers to my house and jump in the car with them without saying a word, right? And
Mhm.
how did that happen, right? Well, it was technology. It was technology that has made it safe and easy to transact with strangers. And we love those companies. We love being their younger brother,
Mhm.
because they give people opportunity to create wealth and create new income streams too. And that's what Tribevest has done. Tribevest the technology makes it safe and easy to do business with partners now. And I think that's just important to understand. So, um, we made doing business with partners so efficient that, it's hard to believe. But anyway, I think that's the important thing. So to answer your question, Cameron, um, look, this is a business partnership and it is a business. And so you need to know that going in. Our whole purpose in building our technology and our processes and best practices is to make that safe and easy and make sure you set it up the right way, make sure you have transparency and everything else. So I guess the way I'd answer your question is, yeah, there are downfalls and pitfalls to business partnerships,
Yeah.
but if you're going to do it with Tribevest, so you're set it up the right way, and you have that transparency, and you put your best foot forward.
The thoughts I had was kind of about time, right? Is you think of like the market investing is, I mean, you can download a dozen apps that'll sweep money out of your account and get it invested for you, right? They're more than happy to do that. They've gotten really efficient at it. And I kind of see you guys coming in and helping facilitate the ease in which kind of entrepreneurs can enter real estate. So I'm excited for this new development.
Appreciate it, guys. No, you're right on. And look, you guys feel it. There's a movement out there. People know that, you know just investing in the stock market doesn't cut it. And again,
Yeah, they're
and
they're
people that
learning that now.
right, yeah. I mean, yeah, and we're always reminded, during times like these. But I think what's cool is, the technology is always going to be way behind that mass market, that is Wall Street. But companies like Tribevest and others and communities like yours are making it way easier for people to make that move, to finally start to take ownership in real assets. And it's exciting to see. It's a movement. It's a movement. It's happening.
Absolutely.
And one thing I like to say, what we've been doing with Infinite Wealth Podcast, when we have a guest like this, we've been streaming it on multiple platforms. So what this does, it allows you to get a sneak peek of the podcast, but more importantly, you have an opportunity to ask questions, right? So if you're on here and you ask some questions for Travis, throw them in the chat. This is a great opportunity to have the founder of the company ask that. And one thing we do a terrible job, but we're not good at marketing. Like, all right, but so we did a poor job promoting this, but just realize that's a reason why you should follow us on YouTube and Facebook, so you will be notified whenever I forget to promote this, which is quite often. And I tell you, we do have a question on here, but it's more related to infinite banking. So I'm going to answer yours offline, but any questions for Travis? We got a few minutes here. Love for you guys to ask.
And Travis, where can somebody find you?
So tribevest.com. And if you're emerging, capital raiser, or, looking to, kind of take your investing journey to the next level, check out our open tribes. And the best place to go there is tribevest.com/open tribes. And then the best place to follow me is LinkedIn. And if you go to LinkedIn, you can put in Travis Smith and Tribevest. You should be able to find me. I would ask that you let me know you heard me on this podcast, so I make sure to accept you as a contact and friend.
Perfect. Okay, I'm trying to respond to this. Okay,
that's all right. I was.
What you have some?
I'm trying to figure out how to kind of phrase it, but Travis, is there? I don't expect you guys to, but if I get a tribe together and I come to you guys, is there an introduction and education into investments, or is it just like, hey, we've got this framework set up for you, you're ready to go, right? Is what's available?
Cameron, that is an awesome question. So we've made it a purpose, made it our purpose to provide this tool and utility, and we're just focused on helping you run a partnership business, and so it's all about that.
Perfect.
And so, no, we don't offer education. We don't introduce you to deals or opportunities or anything like that. It's really, we're very focused. We have our role out there in this world, and that's why we love working with and partnering with guys like Anthony and Cameron, because that's how we count on educating our community, which has 10,000 investors on the platform and as users, and but they're in these communities learning, and then they're taking those learnings and they're coming and taking action on our platform. So the answer is no, we don't really offer that. You kind of have to bring your own deal, bring your own understanding of investing, and then when you do, we make sure you're setting everything up the right way and doing it wisely and safely and transparently.
And what I would add to that is I didn't expect you guys to, but B is right from our perspective, the way that we will typically help clients is that the problem that they have is not the investing, right? It's the lack of kind of being efficient with their capital and cash. And so that's the problem that we're solving. What you guys are providing is kind of the framework on how that avenue to get your dollars to work in a group setting. So there's absolutely a need there, and you guys are filling it. So I'm glad you guys are there.
So yeah, no shortage of, a lot of the access to more deals. I think that's part of the movement. You're more and more private deals and real estate, it's just more accessible.
Yeah.
And then now it comes down to more of, hey, are you leveraging, infinite banking solutions, and are you leveraging your tribe to consistently have capital going into private investments?
And one thing that Nelson Nash said, if you have cash, opportunities are going to find you, right? If you start looking and take those blinders off and be open to those opportunities, they're going to find you if you look.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. It's really eerie almost. I go back to my brothers and I tribe, right? And we wanted to be investors. We weren't investors.
Mm-hmm.
We were saving. in our 401k and mutual funds. But, when we became an investor, the moment was when we formed our LLC and put our first $500 in. And that was it.
Mhm.
But you know what? Like, that was our capital contribution to that partnership business which was created to invest in real things. And so when we would go out and socialize, I just one mention of, yeah, I'm part of an investor group, and we're out there looking for different deals,
Mhm.
and we're just keeping our eye open. Just putting that out to the universe for the first time in that same party, let's say a cocktail party, before I was part of that investor group and putting capital ready. I would have never been a part of any conversations of any deals going on or any opportunities. Just never would have happened. But the moment I said that, or we said it, all of a sudden we were in every conversation of, this deal is here and this deal is there. So anyway, when you said that, Anthony, it just really kind of brought me back to like that experience of, as soon as we did have an investor group with capital, all of a sudden the question of where do we invest, really started to answer itself as opportunities were finding us.
Awesome.
Travis, one more time, where can they find you?
Yeah, come to tribevest.com. And if you're an emerging capital raiser and want to bring bigger checks to deals, check out tribevest.com at Open Tribes. And then, of course, come follow me or ask to connect with me on LinkedIn. Find me just by putting in Travis Smith and Tribevest.
Great, Travis. We will make sure that we get those links in the show notes. And once again, man, thanks for coming back. Appreciate having you.
As always, guys, it's a blast. Thanks for having me. Really appreciate it.
Our pleasure. Go make it a fantastic day.
Take care.